ready, Nausikaä. Can we start?
Yes, welcome everybody. My name is Nausikaä El Mecky, and I'm the founder of Rebellious Teaching, who are hosting this masterclass. We're a project from Die Junge Akademie, so we have a lot of people from Germany. But the workshop will be held in English. So I'm really thrilled to introduce you to our workshop host, Ruben Klerkx, who will be giving our very first online masterclass on a very topical theme for all of us who are stuck with the frustration of Zoom fatigue and being depressed of staring at a screen all day to be reinvigorated. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about Ruben. So Ruben knows all about connecting people, to make them really talk to each other, to make them truly connect and not just touch the surface. And that's not for nothing that he's actually called a conversation designer, which he does at his company called The Creators Company, who do really cool stuff, and we'll share the link later. There's lots of brilliant and inspiring content on their website. So Ruben told me how he has developed a way to come up with making the moment between developing an idea, so having it, and turning it into reality as short as possible. And for that, he's also developed a strategy to sort of drown out these frustrating, mean, doubting voices who say, are you sure? Is this really necessary? It's really complicated. Should you really do it? And he said, and this is something that I've really thought about in the last couple of weeks, he says it's much easier to take a step back if an idea is not working out than to never have tried at all. So that's sort of his motto. And nowhere could this be seen more clearly than with the Corona crisis, where Ruben's company as well suddenly was, stuck at home behind a screen. But his company completely switched tack, and they said being online should be an opportunity to rethink what meetings are, because so many meetings and online classes are frustrating, they're boring, people get distracted. So rather than seeing online as a sort of washed down version of reality, we should see it as an opportunity to really rethink what meetings, connections, creativity, and group work are. So for him, online is not a letdown, an anticlimax, it's something new. So what I think is great about Ruben is that he has this sunny enthusiasm, but it doesn't stop him being critical, which I think is a really great combination and also makes him perfect for rebellious teaching. Now, if you're wondering, what is rebellious teaching? Let me briefly tell you. We are a platform founded exactly 1 year ago, so just before the beginning of the Corona crisis, that brings together educators, activists, artists, and anybody else who's interested in education, whether they've educated for a long time or only thinking about it for the first time. Everybody who's interested in pushing the boundaries of education, softly or brutally, is welcome. We want to find out new ways of teaching and new ways of connecting, and that is why I'm so thrilled to have Ruben here. Also, we're having a second masterclass on the 28th of January with two amazing women. I'll tell you a bit more about it at the end, who are actually talking about throwing off the respectable academic persona, and who are wild and provocative and are still functioning in academia. Places went fast for this one, so I'll post the link later for the next masterclass. And now I'd like to give the words to Ruben. One last warning, we've already written this in many places, but we are recording and sharing this free masterclass so that people who are not able to join it can also benefit. So please be aware of this. Many thanks, and Ruben, over to you.
Yes, thank you. And hello, everyone. It's me,
Hello.
Ruben. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. Um, Made me a bit shy. Now I have to deliver. Um, yeah, today we are gonna work on our collective intelligence and our collective creativity. Um, well, like Nazca already told, I like to design conversations. And the moment we moved all of our conversations into the online environment, a lot of hiccups appeared, but also a lot of possibilities appeared, and that's what I want to explore together today with you all. Um, so, like I showed you in the opening slide, it's actually the only slide I'm going to use today. So the rest is all up to you and our conversation together. And is it possible to have a conversation with 70 people? Yes. If we don't try to have a group conversation, it's definitely possible. Um, so to have a good session and to have good conversations, um, it's really nice if you have a camera and a microphone that is actually working. So in the plenary parts, it's not that necessary, but we're going to move into breakout rooms. We'll have some smaller conversations, and therefore it's nice to see and hear each other. Um, and if you didn't do so already, it's also nice to change your screen name so people know who they're talking to or who are in the same meeting as you are. And maybe if you like it, you can even connect to each other on LinkedIn, on one of the other social platforms afterwards. Um, so far with the technical startup. We're gonna start really this time. You're going to learn today how to find and use untapped potential in groups. And I want to start today with a personal challenge. I want you to find your own untapped potential. And how can you do that? Um, I want you to rely on a skill today that you might not use that often. And it's the skill of drawing. So I'm not using slides. I'm not summarizing what I'm saying, just keep it in the back or something. No, I'm not doing that at all because I rely on your capability to summarize everything. And I want to show you, also show you that the summary that you make can be different than the summary that your neighbor makes. And that's perfectly fine. Actually, you decide, you choose, sometimes without being aware of it, what you want to remember. So the challenge for today is find yourself some paper and some markers or pen or pencils and make this visual summary of today. So you can draw and go wild on it. And at the same time, it's perfectly fine to have some split focus in this part. So you are able, our brains are able to listen and to draw at the same time. It's actually a combination that you can make. It's much harder to listen and to check your email at the same time. So please don't do stuff like that. Yeah. If you have other screens open, close them. I want your full attention. This is 1 hour that we are using each other's time. So make sure you spend it well. Um, Everyone has paper and some pencils. Show me with some thumbs up, please. Yeah, cool. Or the paper, indeed. You can show the paper as well. Okay, cool. Um, okay. The whole thing about this masterclass is that you're going to experience it. There's little theory, and the theory is all in the beginning. So I'm going to share you the theory of the collective creativity or collective intelligence right now. And then if you only remember this part, then I'm already happy. Um, so what is collective creativity? It's all about the idea or the concept that ideas emerge at the same time. So different ideas emerge at the same time at different places. And you can only excel in the complex systems nowadays if you allow as many of those ideas as possible to exist at the same time. And even let them reinforce each other. So we're um, probably aware of the saying 1 + 1 = 3, but it's in collective creativity, it's even more. It's about the realization that um, ideas and initiatives arise everywhere at the same time. And every idea can have an effect on another. So if you don't pay enough attention to all these different ideas or initiatives, it can even work against you. People may be creative, but in the wrong direction or on another level that you're not even wanting to be them creative on. So collective creativity and collective intelligence is listening to all ideas and looking for ways to make all those ideas work at the same time. And I have a little experiment for you on that, and it shows how we are built and how we think. Um, I want you all to find the chat in your bottom in the bottom of the screen, and type in the correct answer to this question. 24 times 6 is. So what is the correct answer to this question? 20 times 6. And I dropped my pen. Let me see. Yeah, I see a lot of right answers coming in. Yeah, of course, it's 144. Maybe some of you already saw, I know some ways to make some shortcuts. Someone is already questioning the question. What is the question for? Just experience, and you will see what is this for. Yeah, 24 times 6. And some people may already use some shortcuts. Instead of using 24 times 6, I can use a more familiar a question like 12 times 12. We all know those, know that one. Okay, this is an easy one. Find the correct answer is not that difficult. But now I want you to type in the chat a wrong answer to the question 39. I don't know the English word for gedeeld door.
Divided by.
Yeah, sorry. So 39 divided by 3. So what is a wrong answer of 39 divided by 3? And I see a lot of answers coming in. Yes, yes. And yeah, okay. I see 3 or 4 answers that aren't numbers. So for the person who asked where are these questions for, this is to show that we are so skilled and drilled to find the right answer that even when we try to be creative, we are still stuck in our patterns, in our little boxes. So a wrong answer, yes, of course, it's one of the numbers. But if we want to be creative, if you want to innovate faster, you need people to literally think outside of that box. So pink is also a correct answer for a wrong answer for this question. Peaches, I see. So if I would ask you now, give another answer, another wrong answer. Now you're inspired by this one and go wild. Give me one wrong answer to the question 39 divided by 3. And now I see some cheese and plants, a tree, a hat, poo, Christmas, unicorn hats, cathedral, tropical beach, blue raincoat. Yeah, I see a lot of colors coming in. Yeah, that's it. Now we are kind of loose. This is the skill and the mindset that you will definitely need if you want to work on your collective creativity. So um, we always learn to give one correct answer. And that's what we're drilled for, to find the right answer. Um, while in innovation and even in learning, it's much more interesting um, to look at the relationships and the connections between different answers. And that leads you to new ways of learning and to rapid innovation. So find connections between answers or connections between the people behind those answers. And at the Creators Company, we like to talk about moving from ID struggles, where you have discussions about the right answers, and where you are trying to convince each other on what is the right answer. And we are also very skilled in using our words to convince others that this is the right answer and that your answer is wrong. We like to move to a little bit more, and I hope I'm okay. You're okay with me saying it. We like to move towards ID sex, where IDs get combined and go into new IDs. So, are you all ready for some rebellion? Are you ready for some ID sex today? Yeah? And let me see it with some thumbs up again. Yeah? Okay, cool. I want to start with that connection and see what kind of different IDs that are living in this group. So what we're going to do, I'm gonna pose a question, and I'm gonna pair you up with one other person. So you will get assigned to a breakout room in couples, and you will have 2 minutes, only 2 minutes, to answer this question together. So make sure that you are aware of the time and aware of dividing the time as equally as possible. So if you notice that you are talking a lot and you used a lot of the time, then give the room to your partner, okay? And now I have to multitask because I also have to make some breakout rooms. Yes, that's it. Okay, and I will place the question in the chats. Let me see. The question that you're going to talk about today is, so how and when do you experience collective creativity? So how and when do you experience collective creativity? And if you already think, I'm not sure what that collective creativity was again, then just rely on you knowing it. So answer the question with the knowledge that you already have. I will open up the breakout rooms, and you will have 2 minutes. And after the 2 minutes, we will have a small countdown timer of 15 seconds. So it's going to be brutal. After the 2 minutes, you will be brutally sent back to the main room where we meet each other again. Yes? So 2 minutes to share how and when do you experience collective creativity. There we go. Thank you.
Oh no, I wasn't ready.
Oh, you were.
Unbelievable. It's too short.
Oh.
For those who think 2 minutes are too short, or then
Yeah.
get overwhelmed by the sudden end of the 2 minutes, try this trick. In the next round, because all good things come in three, in the next round, you will only have 1 minute, but after the minute is over, Volker, you will have 1 bonus minute. Yes?
What does that mean, bonus minute?
So for everyone who didn't had a partner, sometimes you will have to wait a few seconds before your partner enters the virtual room as well, before you already leave it, because otherwise your partner will say there was nobody there. So of your
Ruben,
yes.
I don't know in the chat, but everybody was paired up with the same person. Was that on purpose?
Yeah, I had the same question.
Oh, you
Let's-
tricked us. You told us
let's-
it would be someone else, and then it was the same person. It was a trick.
Let's see. Let's see what happens.
Well, we had fun.
Yeah. Okay, cool. But this time I will pair you up with another partner. And let me see, because I think we.
Then the time is too short.
And you still have to do with it, Volker. Use my trick, like I said. Okay.
Yeah.
So 1 + 1.
1 + 1 is 3.
Okay. Let me see if it works. If we make a little bit less.
Tina, see you in a minute.
There we go.
Yeah, it's
As you can see,
I'm multitasking. Yeah.
Oops.
as you can see, Volker used this time, his 2 minutes, to stay in the main room and talk to me. Thank you. Okay. You didn't give me any time to share my experience, right? So maybe we can do it later on. Okay, so we're back, and we're not here to reflect on the methods that we used or the structure of the breakout rooms. It's also really interesting if we look at it from my perspective as a conversation designer. There are a lot of things and tricks that you can do to create different kind of conversations. But for now, I'm curious about the patterns that you noticed in the different conversations that you had. So you spoke to two different a person, at least I hope. So what kind of patterns did you notice? And I need one brave person who wants to share with us what kind of pattern you notice. So someone who says, "Oh, I'm willing to step up and take the stage, and I will pin your camera view so you will be seen by everyone."
All right, okay. Sorry, Sophie, you can go.
No, you can also.
I didn't notice a lot.
So wait. So I was waiting for you to see who was taking the stage. So it's gonna be Katrine, right? Yeah.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. I asked for someone brave, so I wanted to thank you up front for being this brave. And you don't know the whole assignment yet or the whole invitation yet. So you're gonna share with us your patterns, and I'm gonna make it easier and difficult for you at the same time. The easy, I will start with the difficult part. The difficult part is that you're gonna do it in another language. The easy part is that you're gonna do it in Jabber language. Do you know the language Jabber? Yeah? For those who don't know, Jabber is this fictive language. So it's perfectly clear what I said, right? So Katrine is going to share with you all the patterns that she noticed in the three different conversations that she had. So if you're ready for it, Katrine, take it away.
Well,
Ooh, thank you, Katrine. So I'm gonna need a translator here. Can someone translate what Katrine just said, and not someone who was in a conversation with Katrine, because that's cheating. Is there someone?
Dup 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 dup.
Semi, is it
Yeah.
Semi? Yeah, you can talk in English for the translation. It makes it much easier.
Okay, it's I feel like was saying that she doesn't understand anything what you said, and yeah, more or less it was like this to understand in different languages, but in all languages the same.
Okay, nice. And that was exactly what you meant, right, Katrine?
I hope so.
Yeah. See, this is
we share
the fun part.
emotional.
Yeah. The fun part in conversations and working on collective creativity is that we actually always have conversations in this way. We actually speak a different language and a same language at the same time. We want to hear, or we actually hear what we want to hear. I have this really nagging Siri who's joining in. So there are actually three causes that prevent collective creativity. Three causes that stand in the way of being optimal creative with your collective. Um, so the first thing is we don't dare enough. So we don't dare to share crazy ideas. Um, Therefore, I'm really happy with Katrine, who stepped up and shared her crazy idea, because what she was saying, it could be a little bit exciting, even when or especially because I asked her point blank to come up with a fictive language. Um, so we don't dare to share crazy or defiant ideas. And sharing a normal ideas seems easier because it's well known. Everyone knows those same ideas. But even there, only a few people are good at sharing those ideas. Um, so it's are always the same people who are okay with sharing those ideas. Mostly the extroverts, the ones who aren't not that afraid of stepping up and sharing their ideas. So if you want to have the whole group being collective creative, you will need to find for ways where different types of people can join in. Uh, the second cause of preventing us being creative collectively is that we are too busy judging, actually searching for the one right answer, but we are judging each other. We are judging each other's ideas. We are judging ourselves. So fear is actually a way of judging yourself. If I'm going to talk gibberish, people will think I am crazy, or they don't understand what I have to say. So the judgment is one of the biggest causes that prevents collective creativity. And the third cause that prevents collective creativity is that we normally let the same people set the tone. Uh, in every conversation, a tone is set, and mostly it's set by the person who starts speaking. So if you again have a look at that, extroverts are more comfortable with sharing their ideas, they're also the same persons who set the tone of the conversation. So this is something that you can play with. Um, just specifically ask someone for his or her opinion or ID. So if you know that there's this shy girl in your class, just ask her if the environment is safe enough. Don't ask the shy girl to talk in jabber language when she's not comfortable with it. But you can specifically ask someone to share. So be aware of that tone, that it's always set. I can imagine that you have some ideas about this or some questions. I'm gonna give you a trick. A lot of times, most of the times, questions after sharing, questions after someone who explained something or said something or showed something, a lot of times those questions that appear are not actually questions. They're judgments in disguise. So judgments with a question mark behind. Why are we doing this? Or um, uh, is this really working? So it sounds like a question, but actually there's a judgment there. So if you um, caught yourself on having a judgment in disguise, pause yourself, save that question, and maybe in the end, your question is already answered. You will see the answer, or you can trust the process and that the one who made the design of the session or the presentation has an idea about it and you didn't grasp it yet. But if for now you have some questions or ideas, you can share those ideas in our next exercise. We're going to have a small conversation cafe. So what we're going to do is you're going to be assigned in another breakout room again, but this time with 4 persons. So we're going to make this time 15 breakout rooms. And you will have 15 minutes for that. Um, and in that breakout room, and I have to multitask um, because I have to set up the breakout rooms also. Let me see, 16 breakout rooms. Okay, that's it. In that breakout room, you are gonna have a conversation about the following question: how can we ensure that even more ideas are shared? So if we want to make use of this collective creativity, we need uh, more ideas to be shared. And therefore, we're going to do that in 4 different rounds. So I'm going to give you some structure to your conversation. And I'm going to place the different rounds in the uh, chat. So the question is in the chat: how can we ensure that even more ideas are shared? But what we're going to do is we're going to have 4 rounds. In the first round, you will give everyone 1 minute of free talking time. That means no interruptions, no questions, no judgments shared. Just one person talking, sharing his ideas, questions, thoughts, and then giving um, the talking stick to someone else. And you can use the talking stick. I'm not sure if you are familiar with using a talking stick. So this is my talking stick. It's my big marker. And the person who's holding it is the one who's talking. And if I'm finished, I can transfer it to someone else. So Daniela is on my right. So Daniela, yeah, please. It's coming from your right as well, I think. Yeah. Can you grab it? Yeah, there it is. So now Daniela has the talking stick and she can talk. So again, she can talk for 1 minute. You make a whole round, so everyone has 1 minute of talking time, and then you will have a second round. In that round, um, you will share your thoughts of what you just heard. Maybe you want to proceed because 1 minute was way too short, or maybe you just heard some other things from other people that you want to react on. So after that round, everyone at 1 minute of sharing time, you will close up. And for time's sake, we will do only 3 rounds. So we will end with the third round where you will have an open conversation. So 4 minutes of open conversation. I will place it in the chat again. So it's a total of 12 minutes. And if you think, oh, I'm not sure what we're doing, I'm giving you 1 minute extra to make sure you all help each other out on making clear what we're going to do. So in a breakout room with 3 other persons, share your ideas on the question, how can we make sure that more ideas are shared? Yes? And if you want, you can help each other out. If you don't understand, you can help each other out. There we go.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Hi.
Oh, this was so cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
and you would not be the only one if you think 12 minutes are also too short. But our perception of time is most of the time, or a lot of times, depending on trying to hear everyone, trying to hear every voice. And a lot of FOMO comes in, the fear of missing out. Oh, maybe I didn't hear someone say that, or we were only in a group of 4. What did all the other persons said in the other groups? Well, if you want to make use of collective creativity, collective intelligence, it's way easier to search not for all the answers, but for the patterns in the answers. So therefore, we're going to do a little chat storm. I skipped the 4th round where you could share insights within your group. But for now, you can share one insight that you gained, something that you didn't knew before, or maybe you did knew it before, but it was reinforced in your conversation, and share that insight in the chats and wait until I say go, and then we will all press enter at the same same time, and you will experience a chat storm. So 55 answers at the same time. So take a moment for yourself to write it down in silence, please, or type it down. But hold your finger above the enter button. Ready? I'm gonna count down from 3 to 0 to go, and then we'll all press enter. So what was the insights that you gained in this conversation cafe in 3, 2, 1, go.
Uh-oh.
And of course, you are not able to read all the answers, but just scan them and trust your mind that it will pick out the things that are interesting for you. Just scroll through them. We're not going to work further on those answers, but normally if we would have deepen or try to deepen the conversation, we would definitely do that and have a look at the patterns. Maybe there are patterns in the patterns. But for now, we're gonna leave it there. My eye falls on something French. Ooh, it makes me curious. Thanks for sharing that, Helene. Okay, so this was our chapter. To round it up, what does it take to use more of the collective creativity of groups? The biggest and most important thing is to focus on relations and patterns. And you can do that by having more interaction and less sending. So if you're a teacher, of course, we are all used of you standing in front of the group and sending your information, but your knowledge sharing will become a much richer sharing if you let all your participants interact with each other and with you. Um, and another thing to focus on relations and patterns is to practice with showing empathy. Showing empathy is a way to postpone your judgment and to leave space for the ideas of others. And the fun part is that empathy, you create that in the same part of your brain as the part where your imagination is. So by training your empathy skills, you also train your imagination skills. Actually, empathy is kind of the same as imagining what someone else could or is feeling in a moment. So by practicing empathy, you are also practicing your own creative skills. Third thing to focus on relations and patterns is to have more trust. Try to control less. Trust each other, yourself, and also the thought processes that are going on. So I don't need to hear your summary to know that something is going on in your mind. You are perfectly capable of making, in Dutch we say making chocolate out of it. I'm not sure if that's an English saying. But making sense out of it. So you can rely on that part, that there is something going on. And at the same time, get comfortable with not knowing. So you were in these breakout rooms. I wasn't there. When I started my practice in the beginning, I would have joined every breakout room and have a look what people were saying, but it was only damaging the process because people felt interrupted or maybe even spied or me checking up on them. So trust the process and get comfortable with not knowing because you can rely on that they will know. Those are the most important things to make more use of our collective creativity. And if you're still wondering what just happened, this was an hour full of moving around in parallel universe between breakout rooms. I didn't learn a thing. Just have a moment and let it land, and you will be sure that you did learn something. But to have some last checkup on that, and no, it's not actually a checkup, but after you had some ID sex, it's always good to also do some pillow talk. Do you know that, like, it's one of the most uncomfortable questions. How did you think I did? Yeah, but it's a really important question to grow your own skills and to grow your um, product. So my question to you is, and you can place it in the chat again. Um, um, Let me see. Uh, what was the good, the bad, and the lovely of this masterclass and of your own participation? I'm gonna place it in the chat again. So we were in this together. So you're not only there to judge me or my product, you're also there to judge your own. So how was your participation? What did you do? And what was the good, the bad, and the lovely about that? Have a moment to oh, someone is really looking at Julia noticed the chickens in my bag. Yes, indeed. And you can just place them in a chat. You don't have to wait for a go. Um, uh, so share your thoughts. And of course, Julia, yes, that is gonna be our actual closing. It's us, everyone sharing their visual summaries, and the session is recorded. So if we all place our visuals in front of our cameras, we will have this large collage of drawings. So after you entered your good, bad, lovely, you can share it, and I will skip some of the, move to some of the other windows. Yeah, nice. A lot of drawings there. Okay. And at the same time, we thought maybe it would be nice to have an extra 10, 15 minutes for some Q&A, to have a old-fashioned way of interaction. But I want to propose something to you, Nausikaä. I want to check if you're okay with that. Is it okay if people place their questions in the chat? So if we don't have time for all the questions, we still have a possibility to answer the unanswered questions.
I think that's a great idea. And before we go into that, I just love to make an announcement where I can share some more information before everybody has to run away. So before we go to the questions, I'd love to share 3 more links. But we'll do that after the paper thing that I'm so excited about.
I would say take it away. Are we going to show our drawings one more time? Then I'm gonna crawl into my screen to see all of the drawings. Yeah, it's going to be a challenge to no reflections there. Yeah, nice one. And I'm going to skip to the next page. Ooh. Nice. Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you all. Okay, Nausikaä, it's up to you.
It's up to me. Thank you, Ruben. I'm so excited. And it's, I think, maybe the first time in my life that I didn't associate Zoom with Z. So thank you. That in itself is already mind-blowing, not to mention all the amazing conversations and insights that you've given us. So before we get into the questions, I would love everyone to unmute and deafen each other if you want to give Ruben a bit of an applause, or not just a bit. So I'd love to send you just a little bit of advertising. First of all, for Ruben's amazing company, the Creators Company. They have a podcast, they have lots of amazing material. So for those of you who are interested in their ideas, they have this amazing resource. That's the first thing. The second thing I wanted to invite you to is that we have a Rebellious Teaching Facebook group, and it's a closed group, which means that we want to create a relatively safe community, however that is possible on Facebook, where we share inspiration, articles, doubts, all these kinds of things, and it's growing, and it's a really great way to reconnect with people that you've seen in masterclasses or meetings. So that's the second one. And the third one is to advertise, I already mentioned it before, our next masterclass. And I'm saying this right now because we got booked out within 48 hours for this one. And people who are a member of Rebellious Teaching Facebook group get early bird access to the sign up. We have a next masterclass on the 28th of January with two amazing people. Nausikaä El Mecky, she is a PhD student in pornography studies, and a linguist called Ruben Klerkx, and aka Lady Bitray, who's a linguist and a rapper. And they both will be talking about how they made their way in academia without adhering at all to the typical tweedy, eminent, grey-haired professorial persona. So how to be authentic, how to deal with prejudice, how to deal with friction. I'm going to put all these links right now. And that's all from me. Thank you so much. And then I think we can go to the Q&A for those people who are interested.
Yeah, cool. And we're a bit later than we scheduled, but I'm perfectly fine with staying here up to 2:30. But I can also imagine if you scheduled up to a 2:15 that you have to leave now, so that's also perfectly fine. But if you have questions, let's place them in the chat. And Nausikaä, I want to invite you to be the moderator of it and pick the questions that you want to ask to me. Okay?
So much power. It's going to get to my head.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So act wise, please.
So yeah, let's go with how Ruben proposed it. If you have any questions, please post them in our chat. And I also see a lot of people leaving. Thank you so much for saying goodbye. It also makes it feel so much more personal with so many people. So we really appreciate your chat messages. Don't be shy. We just talked about harnessing ideas, so no question is too stupid.
I see one question.
We have one. Yay.
Yeah, it's snowed under in all the.
How did you become a conversation designer, Ruben? I'd love to hear that as well.
How did I become that? Actually, I learned this method, liberating structures, a few years ago. And for me, that was a moment where everything came together. I was already a trainer and a facilitator. I used to be a actor, and I hosted events. So everything was about me on the stage. And I was booked for events where they needed my energy and my presence. But it started to feel not that good, because if I was in front of a room of 200 people, there was so much more there, much more interesting than me on the stage, that I was looking for other ways to connect and make an impact. And liberating structures helped me a lot with that. And actually, that was the moment where I learned, okay, I am now skilling myself in facilitating and facilitating that conversations to others. But there was this realization, I think 3 or 4 years ago, that, whoa, I'm not doing this at all in my private life. So there's this separate identity of me with groups and me with my family, with my 2 children. And then this is crazy. I have to find a way to combine it. And if I talk about designing conversations, then I actually have to start at my own conversations and have a look at that. And when I started sharing about that, that became the core of my business.
Amazing. So there's another question that was reposted, so endorsed, upvoted by another user. So I'll go to that one next. Are there any, Ruben, we talked a lot about creating space, creating ideas, looking for patterns. Do you have any sort of obvious no-goes when it comes to creativity in groups where you think, okay, well, if anything, you should avoid these kinds of things?
Do you want to hear the obvious one or the not so obvious ones?
Ooh, both, right?
Both. Okay.
We want both. We're greedy.
obvious ones is I think it's the judgment part, and at the same time it's also a not so obvious one, because we all always think that we're not judging. But when one of you gives an example, maybe you noticed it, that when I looked at all of your drawings, I didn't picked out one of the drawings by saying, oh, this is a nice drawing, I could have done it, it's an easy trap to fall in, because that's a judgment too. If I say, Nikki, your drawing is amazing, then what does it says about all the other drawings that are actually also amazing? So try to withhold yourself from that kind of judgment, and the more obvious ones are the ones where you laugh at each other's ideas or have negative judgments about it. And at the same time, it can also be a lot of fun to play around with it, because it's also a really powerful tool to laugh at your own ideas and then try to turn them around. So come up with the craziest ideas ever, or the craziest ideas that would totally destroy your business or your work, that will make you the worst teacher ever. And then have a look at what of those parts am I actually doing, or maybe sometimes resembling that behavior. So that are some obvious goes and no goes, and of course when it comes to creativity, a lot of people like to organize brainstorms, but a brainstorm for me is a definite no-go. Brainstorm is the extrovert's heaven and the introvert's hell. So if you do a brainstorm, you have to be aware of some people need time to shape their ideas, and they're not comfortable with just sharing or shouting out ideas.
We had just a little follow-up question on that, asking how about nodding? So if somebody's saying something, like, because nodding, as somebody mentioned just after, can also be a sign of encouragement. But sometimes you can subconsciously maybe always nod at when, you know, your favorite says something. So how do you feel about that, Ruben?
I think it's a real fair point and good one that you are aware of it. So that's something that you can play with. So if you know that you tend to nod only for good ideas, then probably have a look at your nonverbal language, and or nod at really bad ideas in your opinion as well, or stop yourself from nodding. But nodding can also be more like the inviting way of letting people share more. So if it's like, if your eyes are open and people can see a lot white, sounds crazy, but that's what are that's something that we learn from kids on, that if you see the white around eyes, that is a sign of trust and safety. So if you nod like this and your eyes go open, it's inviting people to share more. And another thing is embrace silence, and that's something that is totally gone in online meetings. It's not even there in live meetings. But if I ask you a question and I know that there are people that have to take some time to formulate their answers, it's the worst thing that you can do is pose your question and then try to reframe it or ask something else, or just wait. And you can wait really long. And if it's online, you can easily wait 10 seconds. Because there's this other thing in this online meeting. Oh, where's my unmute button? I when I finally decided if I wanted to say something, there's this other hiccup that I have to say, oh, now I have to say something. Don't see other people trying to speak up as well. So take your time with it.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. So unfortunately, all the other great questions, we're going to have to deal with our FOMO, right? As you just taught us, right? Thank you so much also for the amazing questions and the comments in the chat. I hope you all enjoyed it. We hope that we can stay in touch with you all either on Facebook or hopefully when Corona allows it with one of our live events. Please sign up to anything that you find in the chat. We'd love to get in touch with you, especially in these lonely times. And thank you again so much to everybody and to Ruben.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. It's very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.